Good morning. This is Daily Hebrew Declarations with Daniel Jedediah Cook, and I'm reading the declaration for today, March the 23rd, 2021. The three Hebrew letters we're honoring today are Samech, Ga, and Shin. Along with those three living letters, we're also honoring the spirit of understanding, the spirit of might, and we also want to honor the fourth thunder, being seated. Now, if you want to know more about the seven thunders, then please look at the gatesofzionmobile.org website. This was an understanding that was given to Apostle Aaron Smith here at Gates of Zion, and we honor that place because we've been to this place of being seated, and we've seen this place where Yahweh has seated us next to him on his thrones. And it's from that place that we really operate and we live in this place of the authority that Yahweh has given us. Being that we are the express image of Yahweh himself here in the earth, just as Yeshua is. We are the express image of Yahweh here on the earth. And so in that place, we are that light here on the earth that is being shown abroad into all the earth. The declaration today reads this: supernaturally supported, ascending and descending, Ospark of Yahweh within. Now, Michelle took the letters today and just wrote basically one statement meanings behind each one of them. Samech being that place of supernaturally supported, the place of where Yahweh has got us protected inside of his fence, inside of his boundary. Now, I know that's the living letter Echad that actually speaks a little bit more about fence and boundary, but yet at the same time, I see Samech in very, very similar ways. Mainly what I see Samech as a hedge of thorns wrapped around us. But it's more than that. You see, one of the other ways that it can also be seen is as a pillar. And when I think about the place of a pillar, this past weekend we were at the Aligning Creation Conference in Slidell, Louisiana. And one of the gentlemen who was there that were leading the worship, Mr. Kevin Couch, him and his wife began to see this, before they came to the conference, they began to see this vision. In the vision, they saw this column. And Clarissa began to talk about how she was seeing this column, and so did Kevin, of both fire and water that were spiraling upwards ever towards heaven. But it was made in the shape of a pillar. Now, I know normally we would think that fire and water don't mix, because one would put out the other, or one could destroy the other, depending upon the situation, depending upon what's going on. You can boil water and it can become steam through the fire itself, but at the same breath, if water is poured on fire, it can also put out the fire. So, but the two were operating together as one. It was the fire that was ascending up into the heavenlies, and it was the water that was descending. So you can see really what they were seeing was the place of Samech, especially looking at it from the perspective of a pillar. Because a pillar is that which holds up. If you will, it's a place where the two are separated, but yet a part of one. And it's that column that makes them one. It's that pillar that actually makes them one. But you see, we can actually see another living letter when we see that pillar as well. We can see the living letter Vav, because Vav connects heaven and earth, just like the pillar does. And so the question begins to be, what is this fire and the water that we are seeing? And really, I want to leave a lot of that to what Holy Ghost is revealing to you. But I will share with what it meant to me, because I saw the fire of Almighty Yahweh that was inside of me, that he had placed inside of me, now being able to be burnt out. If you will, it was just like the laying of the sacrifice and how the smoke rose up, and it was a sweet smelling incense. But in this case, the smoke had become fire itself. We've talked about this on the podcast before, but I want to bring it back up again, how really the pillar of fire that we look at, when it comes to who we are as being the fire of Yahweh, there's two actions that are going on inside that fire. There's the part of the fire that wants to hold on to the wick. It wants to hold on to the earth, because there's an action, there's something that needs to be done. There's a process of completing something as it's connected to that. And if the fire was to let go of the candle wick, it would lose the source of its fuel. It would lose the source of its of what is causing it to burn. But at the same time, the candle flame top itself is ever pointing up to Yahweh. It's always rising up. You know, if you remember from the podcast before, I told you, take a candle and put it on its side and tell me what happens to the tip of the fire. It always moves in one direction, and that's upward to the face of Yahweh. And so that's why I say when I saw this pillar and the revelation that Yahweh was giving me was the fire was moving upward, because that fire represented me. Now, I'm still really kind of spending some time, you know, a lot of times these declarations are me just being able to work some things out, and you guys get to overhear my conversation with Yahweh. And so in this place of this, I'm still asking Yahweh, okay, what is the fullness of the understanding of this spiraling fire upwards towards you? You know, one of the things that Yahweh has spoken to me about is how Vav, that heaven and earth connection we talked about before, is that straight light, or if you will, the straight fire of Yahweh into the earth. But then in Zion, that fire is picked up by the same Vav, because a Zion is a Vav that has a crown placed on the top of it. And so it's the crowned man. It's he who stands with the authority that Yahweh has given us from the very beginning. And as I see that fire coming back up through, so in a sense, it's really representing the Zion, the place of the crowned man, the place of the authority. And it is through the crown that the fire begins to shoot out of who we are as sons, kings, heirs, and priests. And it's the candlelight that really is just like when we talk about a city who's set up on a hill whose light can't be hidden. You see, that light is going to give light to all those around us. And they're going to be able to see and be able to warm themselves by that fire. Because it's the fire of Almighty Yahweh. It's not us. We are just acting as the candlestick. We are, if you will, acting as the conduit through which the glory, the Shekinah glory of God can come through. And a lot of that comes to the place of then just recognizing not only who we are in Him, but also recognizing others and recognizing the Yahweh that is in them as well. So hopefully this is all kind of coming together today in the midst of all this, because in this place of being supernaturally supported, Yahweh provides us the wax, if you will, or the fuel in order for that fire to burn inside of us. But what about the water? Particularly since we're talking about the ascending and the descending here. The water coming down from heaven, if you will. The water of Yahweh's word. The water of Yahweh's heart. The place of his cleansing. The place of his, how do I explain this? The place of all that, the place of his redemption. The place of the redeeming word of Yahweh. How it sets us apart to be holy. How it sets us in this place of cleansing us from all the acts of unrighteousness that we may or may not have done. You know, let's not make this about sin. Let's not make this about the other things, because, you know, sin, we know when we do sin. We know the opportunity. I used to hate the old saying about the devil made me do it, because it used to just irritate me, because I could think back and think, wait a minute, I know every time that I ever chose to do something, it was because I chose to do something. There were no demon, there were no devil, there was nothing else that was forcing me to do anything outside of my own will, or trying to pop up something in my own head. Those pictures that came into my head came because I chose to put those pictures in my head, whatever they may be. I chose them. And now I choose otherwise, because the cleansing water of Yahweh begins to redeem us from all of that. And it not only that, but it sets us apart to be holy unto Him. You see, as we operate in and from this place, we become the offspark of Yahweh in the earth. The offspark of Yahweh that is inside of us, the seed of Yahweh that He planted inside of us, that really is the source of that fire that begins in the first place out of our hearts. is now able to be spread abroad, to light and to ignite fires. My passion, if there's any one thing that I could say right now more than anything else, my passion is to see the fire of Yahweh in each and every one of us as we're I'm not talking about just getting saved. I'm not talking about salvation here. I'm talking about the fire of Yahweh burning in each one of us as we recognize who each and every one of us are in Him. And there is no place of judgment. There is no place of anything except looking and seeing the face of Yahweh in all there is.